All right, let's jump right into this explainer. When we hear the word karma, we usually picture some mystical force, right? But if you look at ancient texts like the Bhagavad Gita, they actually frame karma yoga as this highly structured mechanical system. So today, we're going to explore how these ancient principles map surprisingly well to our modern understanding of physics, cause, effect, and basically the fundamental laws of the universe. And to do that, we got to start on a massive scale. According to the texts, 8.64 billion years is the lifespan of the visible cosmos. That is just one single cycle of creation, sustenance, and destruction. I mean, this mind-boggling timeline really sets the stage for a universe that isn't governed by random, everyday chance, but by incredibly strict long-term mechanics. Which brings us to part one, the physics of karma. So there is this massive popular misconception that treats karma like a sort of cosmic judge, a system handing out good or bad luck based on a moral report card. But Swami Vivekananda, he defines karma way more scientifically. He notes that karma is essentially the inescapable physics of cause and effect, strictly bound by time, space, and causation. Honestly, it's exactly like Newton's third law of motion, but applied directly to human thought and behavior. In fact, if you look at verse 3.5 of the Gita, it outright states that no one can remain without action even for a moment. Absolute physical inaction is literally impossible. Even if you just sit there completely still, your heart's beating, your cells are dividing, your brain is firing off signals. You are an active physical participant in this giant cosmic machine of cause and effect, whether you want to be or not. Moving on to part two, interconnectedness and cosmic cycles. Think of the entire universe like a giant necklace with vastly different pearls. Some are big, some small, all totally different shapes. Now, they might look completely independent, but they are all strung on the exact same invisible thread. Because we're all governed by the same physics of karma, taking care of one part intrinsically takes care of the whole thing. Your actions literally ripple right down that string. To understand exactly how that string was formed, we look at the Samkhya theory of creation from the texts. This theory describes how pure energy essentially becomes matter, which is made up of 5 basic elements. Creation is sustained by this constant combination of spirit and matter. And here's the really fascinating part. Because of this, the universe functions in a continuous ecological cycle of giving and receiving, known as yajna, or sacrifice. Think about it. You exhale carbon dioxide, the trees receive it, and they give back oxygen. It's this vast cosmic economy, and as humans, we're actually required to contribute to this cycle through our actions. Selfishness? Well, that actually disrupts the literal physics of this balance. That takes us to part 3, the 3 forces of nature. Now, these 3 gunas we see here, they aren't just abstract philosophical ideas. They are fundamental behavioral forces that influence absolutely all human action. So you have sattva, the force of purity and harmony, rajas, the force of passion and restlessness, and tamas, the force of inertia and ignorance. You can kind of think of these as gravitational pulls on your psychology. The ultimate goal of karma yoga isn't to somehow stop acting, we already know you can't do that, but to shift your internal physics away from inertia and restlessness and align yourself completely with harmony. Let's zoom in a bit for part 4, Swadharma, your unique orbit. Modern psychological research outlines this concept of Swadharma perfectly. I absolutely love this idea. A frog trying to blow itself up to the size of a bowl is going to explode. A fish trying to live in milk, it'll die. The sun gives us life, sure, but if we leave our orbit to get a little too close, we burn. Swadharma is your unique inner nature. To maintain cosmic balance, you have a very specific psychological and physical orbit. Finding it and then staying in it is your duty. Which leads right into part 5, the science of detachment. So this brings us to nishkama karma. When you actually define nishkama karma, it reveals itself not as some archaic religious doctrine, but as a highly effective psychological tool. It's the practice of performing your duties selflessly and completely detaching yourself from the anxiety of the results. You focus entirely on the action itself, not the fruit of the action. It's like if you are constantly looking at the scoreboard, you aren't watching the ball, right? Nishkama karma is basically the ultimate exercise in being completely present in your execution. And modern management data backs this up beautifully. When employees or leaders practice this kind of detachment from reward-driven anxiety, they experience way less burnout, they build emotional resilience, and paradoxically, they achieve much higher task performance. By letting go of the obsession with the result, the actual quality of the work improves. It's simply a highly optimized way to operate your own internal machinery. Bringing it all together in part 6, You are a miniature universe. The texts leave us with this incredibly powerful realization. You are a miniature universe. Your body is made of the exact same 5 elements that make up the stars and the planets, powered by the very same energy that sustains the entire cosmos. You aren't just a separate entity living inside the universe. The fundamental laws of the universe are literally mirrored right inside of you. The macrocosm is reflected in the microcosm. So I'll leave you with this provocative thought. Understanding that you are completely bound by the physics of cause and effect, influenced by these forces of nature, and possessing your own unique orbit, how will you navigate your own miniature universe today? What specific seeds of cause and effect will you choose to plant? Because remember, in a universe connected by an invisible thread, every single action counts.